Welcome to the Magdalene Voices, giving voice to those silenced for centuries through sacred conversations with beautiful, illuminating souls. I'm your host, spiritual business coach, mentor, catalyst, and facilitator Maria Estella. I serve spiritual entrepreneurs, Magdalene's rising, and radiant beings just like you with the expansion and growth of yourself and your business, aligning you with your deep inner truth, bringing to life that which you're here to birth, and supporting you in expressing your soul's divine purpose through your being and your doing in this lifetime. If you haven't already, I highly encourage you to join my newsletter to stay connected and updated. You can do so on my website, mariaestella.com, where you can also find previous episodes and their show notes. And if you have ever wondered about your Magdalene connection and calling, and whether you are a Magdalene, I invite you to download the free Magdalene Blueprint I've created for you. Go to mariaestella.com/AYM to get it. Finally, if you're a soul-driven, heart-based spiritual entrepreneur, don't forget to check out my new podcast, Spiritual Business with Maria Estella. It's designed to inspire you, empower you, guide you, nurture you, and activate you. You can find it on YouTube as well as everywhere podcasts are broadcasted, or simply click the link in the show notes. Hello, Radiant One, and a very big and a very warm welcome back to the Magdalene Voices. We've been on quite a break. I think it actually lasted a week longer than I had anticipated, but this is what I was guided to, so this is what you are getting. First of all, if you haven't heard me say this before, I just want to wish you a very happy new year, a very happy 2019. I know that we're already almost at the end of January, so wishing happy new year is maybe a little too late. Yeah, but still, happy new year. When it comes to the new year, there is always this surge of energy where, we're abandoning the old and we're bringing in the new. And if you're someone who has felt that, that surge of energy, but have also on the back end of that felt depleted or exhausted, don't worry. I think that that's very normal. I posted recently on my Instagram that the full moon that we had earlier this week really brought me to my knees, and had a ton of people respond that they were feeling the same, which was such a relief to hear, because I've been seeing all these posts about how magical and wonderful and juicy that the full moon had been for people, and I was just wondering, like, okay, is it just me? But apparently it wasn't. And I guess that's just such a beautiful reflection or a beautiful reminder of how our experience is always going to be our own. And so whether or not, because I've had this at other times where people are telling me that they have been brought to their knees, and all I feel is just, elation and revelation and joy and satisfaction. And it feels so sumptuous. And so, like I said, it's just a reminder that your experience is really your experience, and while others may be experiencing the highs, you may be experiencing the lows. While someone is walking through light, others are walking through the darkness, and that's just how it is. It's we're intertwined, and our life or our being in this world is through your personal lenses and your personal experiences. So it's a beautiful reminder to know that where you're at is the most perfect place right now, and whether that is on your knees trying to surrender or being in the phase of surrender, or whether that is running through life and being I want to say high on life, then that's where you're at. And in terms of that, and also in terms of every new year, I've had years where I was so happy to abandon the old, but I wasn't really too excited about the new, not knowing what I was going into. I've had other years where I've been so excited about the new year, and had a wonderful, year before then also. Now this year for me is, I'm not sure I want to say different, but the experience to me, the energy to me of 2019 is not one of rush or stress or that high excitement. My my sense of the energy for 2019, I kind of I kind of I kind of see it as, a stream that is just flowing with strength, but not necessarily rushing, if that makes sense. So it's a stream. It's a grounded feeling of continuous, strong, powerful energy, but it's not in a rushy sense, not in a like in a highly stressy sense, or even, because the difference between excitement and stress can be the fear or the love. So it's not necessarily a high pitched energy or rush. It's simply a steady stream, a steady flow, a continuation of what you built or I built in 2018, and that is just moving through. That's the sense that I get for 2019. And in terms of years and new beginnings and so forth, as I was tuning in to see how Mary wanted me to show up in this, and what came to me is really how she show up, or when she shows up. And from my experience with the people that I have worked with the people that I have sat with the people that I have also sat with in sacred conversation here on the Magdalene Voices, my experience is that Mary, and when I say Mary, I'm talking about Mary the Magdalene as well as the Magdalenes, but Mary the Magdalene, usually when she shows up for you, it's not necessarily at a time where you are, I don't want to say not at your best, but usually in my experience, usually she shows up at a time where you have been probably brought to your knees, or you are in a situation that is um, shaking up your life. She shows up, I see, in a time when it is time for you to abandon the old and bringing the new. And so I see her as this very, very powerful, strong, and extremely loving teacher who will show up for you when you are ready for her, when you are ready to bring in true healing, when you're bringing, when you're ready to, not, I wouldn't want to say, maybe bringing in is not the right word, but when you're ready to facilitate true healing, when you're really ready to clean out the muck, to clear out the shit, to release yourself of, old paradigms, of constraints, of limiting beliefs, fears, scarcity mindset, all of these limiting restraints that hold you back. When you're ready to release those, that to me is when she shows up for us, and is that teacher, like I said, who is the kind, the caring, the loving guide, but also the powerful guide who will ask you to rise, who will not accept you covering in the corner, or hiding in darkness, or in, hiding your light. She is the one who will ask you or demand of you to reclaim those parts of yourself that you have forgotten. And so the journey with her is not one of learning something that you don't know. The journey with her is a journey of remembering who you are through that healing work that you do, through that reclaiming of all of those pieces. And the reason why I say this is because I have had years, New Year's, where that was where I was at. And so I want to say that if that is where you're at, if you have stepped into a year where you're not certain what's going on, you're not certain, you're not certain that you're too thrilled about 2019, I just want to let you know that, you're on the path, and you just keep taking step by step by step. And in the beginning, it may be baby steps until you're ready to run and fly and soar. But it's about taking one step after the next. And also, if you're listening to this and this is where you're at, you may also be who I was years ago and be like, rolling your eyes and like, I just want relief. I just want. But the thing is, once you have awoken, once you have answered the call, once you have begun listening to that voice who may not initially be inside of you, but you may initially see it as something outside of yourself. It is not. It is within you always. But if you have, once you've begun opening, whether it is a tiny prickle of light, or a tiny prickle of listening or seeing or noticing the differences, then that will expand as you expand from a space of love. And again, you may be, I know that if I had heard myself say this 5 years ago, I would have probably rolled my eyes at myself and be like, I don't want to hear this. But and the reason why I'm smiling and laughing is because I know how stubborn I was. I know how, thick-skulled, thick-headed I was, how adamant I was, how demanding I was. Like and I also know that it's just, the way, like I say, is through. There's no way around it. Currently, you may be searching for answers in the world. You may be looking for different modalities of healing. You may be looking, going through all of your crystals, or maybe acquiring crystals. You may be looking into oils and different things, which are all very, very helpful and can be very helpful and powerful, as well as, working with a therapist, or working, if you have a dream and you're an entrepreneur, working with a coach like me, in bringing that to life step by step. But really, the ultimate truth is within you. And so there is nothing in the world that can bring you the satisfaction, the joy, the relief that you're looking for. What you need to do is get on your knees and surrender into that, not to a demanding outside God who is harsh and judgmental and unkind, and all of the things that some religions have portrayed God as being. That is not my experience of God. You need to surrender into the loving, kind, caring arms of your source, which to me is God, which to me is the same as love. And that surrender is, it has to be done through giving up what you thought was your beliefs, what you thought perhaps was true, what you thought perhaps was your direction in life, what you thought gave you pleasure and joy. And as you do that, as you surrender those things, especially as you surrender your limiting beliefs, and you begin to lift the veil so that you may finally be able to see who you are and what you are in truth, then comes the time where the new year is something that can be, can bring in joy, and not in the sense of the search, because like I said in the beginning, of a new year, there's always this surge of energy. There's always this, because so many people who are hoping for the best, desiring the best, and really wanting to jump into the new. That, of course, on an energetic level, globally brings about the newness. However, it's usually not something that is sustained over a long time, and that's what you have to remember, is that you're here for life. You're here to, it's not just about January, it's about all of the months coming after. And so so creating a life, and a business, if you're in business, that is sustainable throughout, not only this year but the years to come, is what it's all about. So often we get caught up in the glitter and the glamour. One of the questions that I have been sitting with, and one of the questions that I am asking my clients is, what is it like? What do you really want? And when I say, what do you really want, it's not based in what you think the world, or what the world tells you that you need, because we're constantly being bombarded with things that we think that we need or should have. And all of these images of things. But once you give up that, then what is it that you really want? There are some people for whom, they love living in a city, being close to museums and art and people and that. And then there are others who love to live, as far out of the side of the city and outside of the grid as they possibly can, and just be in nature. And maybe you're someone who's in the middle. So asking yourself, especially now that we've, gone through that first surge of the energy of 2019, asking yourself, what is it that I truly want? And also questioning your desires and your wants, and checking in to see if they really are yours, or if it's something that has been given you by, quote unquote, the world. Maybe it's been by your parents. Maybe you've been conditioned to think that this path that I'm on, this is the way, and I want this. But do you really want it? To give you an example, even though I am, I know that my career in hotels and what has given me a lot of experience and lessons, I also, at some point in my life, realized that I was on that path because of my father. This was a path that my father thought would be really good for me, and I don't want to say that I forgave him, because I didn't need to. There was nothing to forgive. It gave me a lot of lessons. But if you're on a path, whether you're in business or have a career, ask yourself, am I in this for me, or am I in this because of this is what the world thinks that I should be doing, or my parents think that I should be doing, or my friend thinks that we should be doing? So question that, question your wants and your desires, and find out what is it that you truly want. Because what I've found is that when it comes to Magdalenes, those who have made the journey from their minds into their hearts, is that when we check in with our heart, we're not really sure. We want nice things and want to, have a nice home and so forth, but we're not dependent of it. It's not that which gives us true joy and satisfaction. It's being able, to live where you live. It's being able to support your children or your family. It's being able to work with the people that you love to work with. It's being of service to the world in whatever capacity that may be. whether that is being, a garbage man, picking up trash. That is one of the most important jobs that we have in our society, and it's not really valued until there is a strike where you all of a sudden see trash and shit pile up on the streets. And then you begin to realize just what an important job that is, and that can be such a fulfilling, thrilling career. Or it can be something else. It doesn't necessarily have to be that you have, quote unquote, a big impact on people, because I am sure that where you're at, you have an impact no matter what, whether you stand in front of thousands and millions, or whether you stand in front of 10 or 50 people. It's really about being of service. So question that. Question where like, again, question your wants and your desires, and check in whether they come from a space of fear or from a space of love. And take baby steps, and as always, love is the way. Implement love, when you do this, check in with yourself and come from a space of love. I've started the process of researching, of inviting people into the conversations that I'm going to be having here on the show throughout the rest of the season, which will end sometime in June, I believe. End of June, I think this is the last episode for this season before taking a break. And I want you to know that I would love to hear from you. So if you have a topic that you would like for me to cover, if there is something you've gone through an episode and you have a question, you're more than welcome to ask me that. You can either add it to the comment section of that particular post. You can, if you have a suggestion for a topic or a guest, there is on my website, there is a contact page with a form that you can fill out. I'd love to hear from you. And also, if you're someone who believes that you have something that you would love to bring to the show, you can go ahead and apply to be a guest on the show as well. I will include all of the links to that in the show notes. So if there's something that comes up for you, I would love to hear from you. And with that being said, I am going to leave you. I again want to wish you a wonderful, powerful, magnificent 2019. Until next time, I love you. Take care. That is what I had for you in today's episode of the Magdalene Voices. For all of the deeds and the details, find the show notes on my website, mariastella.com. Know that I would love to hear how it resonated with you and what you got from it. So tag me on Instagram or leave me a comment on either my website or YouTube. Finally, if it served you, please take a moment to share it with a friend or on social media. God bless.